I always thought my grandmother's house was peaceful. It sat at the end of a long, gravel driveway in rural Pennsylvania, surrounded by ancient oaks that seemed to lean in and listen to your conversations. But after she passed, the silence changed. It became heavy. I moved in to settle her estate, sleeping in the guest room downstairs. On the third night, the phone rang. It was 3:14 a.m. I picked up the kitchen receiver, expecting a telemarketer or a wrong number. Instead, there was nothing but the sound of rhythmic, labored breathing. Then, a soft click. The next night, it happened again. 3:14 a.m. This time, a voice whispered a single word: run. I stayed awake the following night, sitting in the dark kitchen with a flashlight. When the clock hit 3:14, the phone remained silent. I felt a wave of relief until I heard a soft tapping. It wasn't coming from the door. It was coming from inside the wall. I grabbed a hammer from the utility closet, driven by a mix of fear and adrenaline. I smashed through the drywall near the phone jack. Behind the plaster, hidden in a hollow space between the studs, I found a vintage baby monitor, still powered on and wired into the house's old electrical system. The breathing started coming through the monitor in my hand. I followed the wire. It led up through the ceiling and into the attic. I hadn't been up there since I was a child. When I pushed back the heavy trapdoor, the air was freezing. My flashlight beam cut through the dark and landed on a small, makeshift bed tucked into the corner of the rafters. There were dozens of photos pinned to the beams. They were all of me arriving at the house, me sleeping in the guest room, me crying at the funeral. In the center of the bed was a handwritten note. I've been waiting for you to come home. The house missed us. I didn't pack a bag. I ran to my car and drove until the sun came up. I later found out from a private investigator that a distant cousin, who had disappeared from a state facility years ago, had been living in the crawlspaces of that house for over a decade. He wasn't a ghost. He was a witness to every private moment of my life. Now, whenever I hear a floorboard creak in my new apartment, I don't look at the door. I look at the walls. Would you like me to create a second part to this story or generate a hook-driven title for a YouTube video?